After reflecting on last month, these are the exact things that I will be focusing on this month to make sure that I double my net worth only 2 years after saving my first $100,000. So I'm going to have my budget on one side of the screen and I'm going to have everything else on the other side so we can compare and contrast exactly what I planned for myself versus what I actually did. We are reviewing the month of November right now. We're jumped into my computer right now and I'm going to go ahead and run the data. And if you think the spreadsheet is really cool, you can grab it down in the description. All right, and this is about to pull everything I spent my money on for the month of November. Motivational message. And boom. That's everything I spent my money on during November. That is every single payment I've gotten in November. This is everything. Total income was $11,480.68. Total expenses was $6,678.92. Keep in mind when we're reading these summaries, food and drink means restaurants, it means groceries, it's everything food and drink literally put together. We're gonna separate those here in a little bit. General merchandise, so think Amazon, things like that. Loan payments, I did go ahead and pay off that $1,800 something credit card bill that I had earlier in the month, which was of course from October, in addition to my student loan, so that's what that is. General services, $353.25. Entertainment, $26.98. I'm like 99% positive that's just Netflix by itself. So all in all, incredible month. I did spend more than usual when it came to food and drink just because Thanksgiving I did cook this year, and I'm not a turkey guy, so we did steak. It was awesome. Now, since I went ahead and explained all this to you already, I'm going to go ahead and clean this up. Now what we're going to do is head on over to my money finder. We're going to look at November up close. Run money finder. Boom. So I did transfer a ton of money out, as in I transferred a lot of money into my savings account from my checking. So that also considers transfer out because I do not include my checking and savings account when I pull all the data, because that's just going to confuse everything and cause for double negatives and all these weird things. So just in case you're wondering about that, that's what most of that was. And the rest of that was mostly tithing and sending money to my mom. Loan payments, I'm budgeted for $718.89, but I spent $2,328, but that was planned. I fully planned on paying off that really expensive credit card bill because what I was not going to do was pay interest on that mess. I'm just not going to do it. I don't got time for it. So if we're comparing this to my budget, which we are, by the way, obviously what we're seeing so far does not match up, but my rent that I did spend was $2,115.17. And this money finder is based off the 50-30-20 principle. So it's basically saying, look, you can spend $4,300, but of course your boy wasn't about to do that. So technically it still had $2,186.15 left over from that, but I did budget for $1,900 for my rent and utilities. So now if we look into this, as we can see, it was, of course, it was rent, which is $1,850.80. So I guess I need to update and adjust my budget, because if rent is $1,850, then utilities has to be $49 or less, or I'm always going to be over budget. So maybe I'll just change that to $2,000 in the future. But also, just looking at this, my Verizon bill has gotten slightly more expensive as well. And I did upgrade my phone this month, so there's that. So I expect it to get a little more expensive next month and then go back to baseline the following months. Investing, I invested a lot, probably more than I should have. I put almost $1,000 into my WeBull account, $700 into my M1 finance account, and as y'all know, I was planning on doing another $700, so it would have been $1,400, but I decided not to do that. I'm glad I did because I have a little bit more breathing room. This is one area where I don't mind being in the red end though, because I'm investing for my future. And so if I'm in green in other areas, I'm going to put that extra money into investing. So it's going to say I'm over budget, but I'm really not, because looking at the overall budget by itself, I'm well within what I'm supposed to be doing. Groceries, surprisingly, I thought I spent a lot of money on groceries because I've been eating out less, and so I've been spending money on groceries more. $712.70. And the budget that I gave myself, which I thought was pretty high for groceries, is $800. So I'm actually pretty proud of seeing these numbers right here. Even food and drink. Now this food and drink that Money Finder breaks down is actually going out to eat, door dashing and all that stuff, double dash, all the things, Uber Eats, whatever you want, right? Surprisingly, I stayed well within my range there. I think your boy has figured it out, but I can't get too excited because I gave myself a budget of $600 and I went over by $17. So even though this is probably the best I've ever done since I've created this spreadsheet, and even before I've created this whole series, that's the best I've ever done, I still need to tighten up. And I am perfectly fine with holding myself accountable. Fitness. $341.91, and as you know, I do budget pretty high for that, $670, because of my Muay Thai private training, and then in addition to that, I have my actual gym, which is Anytime Fitness. So did pretty good there. Typically, I'd spend about $450 to $500 on that. There's also dining, which I forgot about this one, so I'm just going to combine food and drink and dining because groceries is already defined on this. So $220 and $617, it's like $830 or something like that. So yeah, I'm like $230 over budget, but this was also a high spend month, and this was a highly paid month. So this is one of those times where it actually makes more sense. And even within Money Finder, as we can see, I'm in the green on both of those, so I can't complain. Insurance, also well within range, $203.25. And that's really just my car insurance by itself. And for whatever reason, my life insurance goes into general services, but that's what that is. And this video has made me realize I need to tighten up because I have not included a car insurance portion on my monthly budget. So this has been a very humbling experience for me, but that's okay. All in all, I am very happy with how November has gone. I have been anxious for the better part of the month just because I have a lot of expenses coming up and things I've been prepared for. A lot of business stuff is coming up, and I just want to make sure that I'm not overspending in any particular category. Obviously, I'm not perfect based off of what my Money Finder did show you, but it goes off of the total budget, and since I was like $4,000 in the positive, I am technically not overspending, but I like to be a perfectionist, so I look at any red areas as areas for improvement, except for investing. And so what I want to share with you now is my goals and thoughts going into 2026. I'm going to be more accountable, and I'm going to focus so much more on my savings accounts. Here's a quick screenshot of my savings account. So I actually just did it here while I have my laptop in my lap, but I also just want to make sure that, you know, what you see right now is a solid amount of savings, but I had a lot more at earlier times in life. Like even if you just go back a year ago, 2 years ago, I had a lot more in my savings accounts, and I actually had less savings accounts back then. And so what I'm saying is that I'm becoming more self-aware when it comes to finances. It's not all about putting as much as you can into investments. You also have to have a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to savings, so you never have to liquidate your investments. And right now, the stock market and the crypto market are going up and down, so I would hate for either of those to be going down and I had to liquidate from them, because that's just a double loss. I don't want that, you don't want that, we don't want that, and so I'm not going to let it happen. But I am adding to it. I'm focused right now on my regular savings account that I can just have quick access to. And honestly, I like where it's at right now. I don't see why it would need to have any more than that. Like my goal for the longest had been keeping $2,000 in there consistently. Right now it's above that. So I would say as long as I can keep it where it is, or at least above 2,000, I'm perfectly good with how much is in it. And this is provided that I don't touch it, which I built a pretty solid buffer throughout the month of November inside of my checking account, which I don't typically consider part of my net worth. That's why you never see exactly how much is in it. But just know I've been keeping about $100 to $1,500 as a buffer in that account, just so I'm never tempted to pull money from my savings. And whatever's left at the end of the month, guess what happens to it? Or guess what's going to happen to it? I haven't started this yet. What's going to happen is it's going to get invested or saved, but not the whole buffer, just about half of it or so, because I believe a $1,500 buffer is a little bit ridiculous and it could lead me to overspending in the future, and I don't want that for myself. But when I talk about accountability, I'm also talking about my business. I am going to be more focused on YouTube, more business minded when it comes to YouTube, more structured, because I went the better part of the year without really posting, and I really missed doing that, and I really missed connecting with the audience. And I will still be going live, but I find now that I prefer making these videos and then going live every now and then than going live every single week. So I'm going to keep doing that. And then I'm also building all the background stuff, all the things. And I also want to discuss the impact that my financial decisions have had on my actual personal finances. And that's wins, that's losses, that's everything that we're talking about. And of course, we have to talk about goals for the month, goals for December. So I am going to still do my $100 in Bitcoin this month, but it's going to be when I get paid around mid-December when I put that $100 in. I'm not just saying these are my goals, I'm putting it into the world, right? I am going to max out my Roth IRA in December. I was going to do it in November, but I changed my mind because I need to build a buffer. I built said buffer, and I've even put a few thousand into my savings. So now what I'm going to do is max out that Roth IRA, boom. And I'm going to set out all my goals for 2026 in a very structured way, share it with you in a fun way so you're not bored to death, because this is not a fun topic to talk about. And frankly, it's not fun to do because you have to sit down and think about all the adult decisions that you have to make in life, and you got work tomorrow, which is literally my situation right now. But I digress. Case in point is I've done a lot of great things throughout 2025. I've done a lot of not so great things in 2025 when it comes to personal finances, and hindsight is always 2020. Had I not made those decisions with investments, my net worth might not be as high as it is. But when your net worth is mostly rested in investments, it can go up and down in the blink of an eye. When it's in savings, it's more stable. So I need to build more cash, and that's exactly what I am intending to do. That's exactly what I am going to do in the year of 2026, and I will have a whole video outlining my 2026 plan, how I plan to double my net worth, and I will 100% do it. And I do believe it'll be right at the 2-year mark from when I hit my first $100,000. That is when I believe it will go to $200,000 and more. In asset value, I already have over $200,000, but when you deduct my debt, it's under $200,000. So I need to bridge that gap, and that is exactly what I'll be doing. And as part of these financial reset videos, I'm going to reflect on the entire month of November, so that includes how my investments actually performed. And I already showed in the last few videos actually that my specific portfolio in WeBull is outperforming the S&P, it's outperforming NASDAQ, and it's outperforming Dow Jones. So that's not to toot my own horn, that's just saying this has been a really good year for my specific portfolio, but I'm still going to be raw and honest and authentic about the fact that my account absolutely tanked in the month of November. So it wasn't the worst month of the year, but it was the third worst month of the year for this account. It went down $1.86 thousand. So $1,860 or so, that's how much it dropped in value. I did not cash anything out, so I did not realize any of these losses, granted. And I have been green throughout most of the year, but I do want to point out, and I will show you the whole chart for the whole year so far, and I'll show this again at the end of the year, but November was not a great month, and I continued investing, and I do believe we will see towards the end of December. I can't tell the future or nothing, but I think towards the end of December, we will see the fruits of my labor on that, because I do know as the market goes down and you're investing into the best companies in the world, it's best to keep putting your money in, keep dollar cost averaging. I didn't get greedy. I just put the exact amount of money that I would have otherwise put into my WeBull account. And so I think as the market recovers, I think my account's going to see an even bigger boost because, well, it kind of only has to go up at this point. I'm saying that partially joking, but I think it will go up anyway. So don't try to get smart in the comments. I'm like, it can keep going down. I know, but I'm saying it's going to go up. I guess we'll see in the month of December. But overall, I'm extremely proud of this portfolio. Year to date, this portfolio has earned me $10,574.84 by itself. Now we're going to look at my Roth IRA performance. So even though the month of November, look, I'm going to tell you something about my Roth IRA, and I'm going to show you the screenshot real quick. I'm gonna tell y'all something about it. Even though the market has been so rough in the month of November, and my Roth IRA definitely did go down and up and down and back up, it's still up $74.54 for that month. So whereas my WeBull account is a little more volatile, it dropped by like almost $2,000. This one actually went up. And right now, these accounts, if you add them up, they're almost $80,000 together. I forget the exact number, but I'll put it on the screen or something. But that's my next goal, and that is my goal going into December, going into the rest of next year, is to get both of these accounts to the point where if you add them up, they equal $100,000. Then the goal after that is get one account, my WeBull account, for example, to the $100,000 mark, and then get my Roth IRA to $100,000. Of course, my WeBull will get there way before, but my point about this $100,000 journey is once you hit your first $100,000, you keep getting other accounts to $100,000, and then the passive income you get from those just gets straight up aggressive. Now, my favorite part of the video is talking about what I'm going to do differently this month and the month of December. Christmas month, joyous month, most people's favorite time of the year. For the month of October, I said I wasn't spending money at work, and I have lived true to that throughout the entirety of November. I have not eaten at work. For November, I said, you know what? I'm also not going to buy anything from Starbucks at all for the entire month. I have stuck with that for the entirety of November. Super, super proud of myself. So I'm going to bring both of those into December. And do you know what December's goal is? It's actually two of them. One is to lay out a full plan for 2026. Do not buy from McDonald's. And usually I never eat at McDonald's, haven't for a long time, but I noticed when I gave up Starbucks, for example, I found myself going to McDonald's or DoorDashing from McDonald's. So I don't know where the heck that came from, but I don't even like it like that. So I have to get rid of it. And I noticed that my DoorDash habits lessen with each thing that I cut off. So I'm just baby stepping it because I don't see myself as a cold turkey type of guy. And that's okay. Oh, I forgot to show y'all my 401k account. This is it right here on the screen. It is worth $122,998.64. That was without me touching it. And this one is funny because it's up for the month, but it's up $3.22. My 401k has actually had a really, really good year. Extremely proud of it. Happy to see it. But yes, I am not going to be doing the McDonald's thing anymore, and I think that's going to lessen my DoorDash usage moving forward. We're just going to put more money into my pocket and more money into investments and saving. Anyway, I know that was a lot. It's probably a pretty long video, but that is my December financial reset. I have more exciting things coming your way. But until then, if you haven't been watching this series, if you haven't been following me for a while, I want you to do me a favor. Click the like button, subscribe, and make sure you watch the Wealth Journey series. You can check it out right here.